is Vivian Lwin, and I'm the Global Marketing Lead for Adobe Creative Cloud teams. I've started at Impro for a few months now. I think it's been 3 months, and I've already seen some significant improvements in changes on how I approach leadership in my job. As a marketing professional and a leader, I'm very supportive of professional development and constant, self-improvement. And as such, I have tried a lot of executive coaches before. Some of these coaches have been funded by my company. With Impro, I've had some really positive experience that has been quite different from my past experiences with executive coaching. And I would kind of break that down into 3 or 4 buckets from my experience. Number one, I think the qualifications are very different. I know that Impro goes through a very extensive kind of qualification process to pick those coaches, and then they, train them in the Impro way. That Impro way really kind of defines their approach to coaching, which is super data driven. I've had coaches in the past where it feels a little bit more like a therapy session, very fluffy, very qualitative. I think with Impro, they're very data driven. They track all of your responses, your patterns, your behaviors, and they give you that feedback to help you recognize and be self-aware about your patterns that may be obstacles and help and get in the way of you improving as a leader. So I think that that's been, as a busy professional who is seeking, executive coaching to be better at my job, I really appreciate that kind of approach. I'm also a super, data-driven professional, data-driven marketer. So to be able to understand that my executive coach is approaching, problem solving the same way gives me a lot of confidence. Another way that they're different is that instead of having these, one-time 45-minute, 1 hour a week or 1 hour, every 2 weeks kind of sessions, that's more daily doses. And these daily doses consist of, messages that you have between you and your coach, or exercises or questions that they may ask you. And so it really allows you time to think and reflect within yourself, as opposed to when you're forced into, executive coaching session. You really feel the need to respond when they ask you a question, even though you haven't had the time to process it. And so that's been really different. And I don't know, how other professionals feel, but right now, especially with working remote, there's just back to back meetings, and to be able to squeeze 45 minutes to an hour is quite difficult. But with the Impro way, with these daily doses, you get to be flexible with your own time and tap into the mind space that is going to be most effective for you when you're thinking about, how to become better and all of that. So I think that's another way that the Impro way is very different. These daily doses that you can work on in your own time. Then you do set up some like live, chats and live conversations with your coach, but it's more like once a month where, you've had the time to kind of progress and work on things. So I think that structure makes the approach unique and really works for me personally as a really busy professional. To me, what excites me a lot about the Impro way is that, unlike regular executive coaching that relies on me to kind of bubble up what I think my issues are, what I want to work on, the data speaks for itself, and the coaches will, track my data and my responses. And really, it's a partnership and a collaboration on what's really happening and how do I, address some of those issues to make me become, a better, more effective leader.